Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Wow. They weren't fooling around, right? It's snowing like crazy. And although, actually, as I look out right now, it doesn't look like the snow is falling. It looks like it's just going in circles. A lot of flakes in the air, but they're going in all kinds of different crazy directions. They're even going up. They're going up. They're going down. They're going around. I wonder, is that a thing? What do you call that kind of snow? Windy. We just call it windy, Greg. It's not a big mystery. But just like they said, it started with rain yesterday. My wife was like, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. But sure enough, it's happening. And it's, quite frankly, it should be no big deal, right? We can handle this stuff. We've been through it before. We used to have these things a couple of times a year. It seems like it's not as frequent lately, last couple of years. Anyway, Mamdani is showing himself once again to be too small and too weird for the job. You heard about the shovel crew? He wants a shovel crew. Right, number one, we really don't operate that way. All right, we have professionals. We have city services. This is what we, all the taxes, property, and whatnot, the thing that you want to raise, yeah? This is for you guys to take care of. Don't make it a big community event. We do it. Everybody clears their own walk, right? Everybody does their own thing, right? And then that's what you do. That's how you're a part of the community. You don't show up downtown. What is this, the Depression? This is the Depression. This is how Ralph Cramden met Alice. Went down to the WPA to shovel, and Alice was handing out the shovels. That's how they actually met. All right, so everything's closed down pretty much. It was very vague, though, and you don't know where to go for everything. Where do you go for all your news? Well, you can get it here at WABC, but everything else was a little bit hazy and all over the map. And then I watched Eyewitness News. You got to watch the entire show, and some guy is driving around in Rockland, and then somebody else is driving around in Suffolk, and somebody else, just what's open, what's closed, how much snow. We don't need the whole thing. I don't think we do. Having said that, we are joined by James Flippin, who's on Route 8 in New Jersey right now as we speak. No, I think you're, where are you, James? Hello.
Hey, I'm at my home in Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Oh, wow. What an intrepid reporter we got, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, I could have set my watch to you starting off the conversation that way.
I mean, shame on me for thinking that you might on a big news day like this. I don't know, be with those other schmucks, but you're right. There I go, but it is kind of a silly thing. Sooner or later, someone's going to get hit in the head with a traffic light during a hurricane. You know what I mean? Some dumb reporter.
We've certainly seen people put in harm's way with that kind of reporting before, but no, I mean, it's good. I'm able to help out my neighbors, like you alluded to at the front end. I was helping my neighbors shoveling out this morning, and also last night got a jump start on it. And it's just a lot of snow, just a crap ton of snow.
James Flippin, everybody, with remarkable insight. No, just a ton of snow. And what are you going to do? What?
And wind as well. Certainly a lot of wind. I mean, that's the thing. Like, this is just a heavy snow, lots of wind, puts the power lines in danger. Hopefully, not too many of our listeners are being impacted by that right now. But, there's upward of I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people up and down the East Coast, with not having power right now. So that's dangerous. But, the one thing I'll say is at least it's not as cold as it was during the January month.
Yeah, it's not as cold.
Awful.
It's not as cold.
I mean, that was brutal, and that's why that snow stuck around for like 3 weeks. I mean, this could be. I don't think it's going to be fully gone by Wednesday. We're getting a lot of rain on Wednesday, getting up into the 40s. So hopefully that's when it starts to clear out a little bit.
So, Mamdani, drunk with power, he started to allude to like, it's illegal to drive. I'm like, wait. You can advise me. You can, advise, but you can't make it illegal to drive. If I got an SUV or whatever and I want to take the road and I want to see what it's like out there, it's my right. They don't have that kind of authority. I don't care.
I heard you saying that this morning. I'm not so sure you're right about that though. I mean,
Hey, once I said James Flippin, thanks for joining us. Guess what? This is the Greg Kelly Show. I'm always right. I'm not sure you're right about that. That's the thing about Flippin. I don't know why. He always wants to stick it to me. Oh, well, Greg, I don't think I'm...
That's not true. You accuse me of doing that with you, but it's just...
Well, you've done it 3 times in this brief conversation, so...
I just don't know. I mean, there's been plenty of states of emergency in the past where governors and mayors and stuff, they say it's not safe, I mean, people got in trouble for being out during hurricanes on the beach and stuff like that, so, you got to keep people safe.
You probably did everything you were supposed to do during COVID, didn't you? You stayed inside. You did the mask up. You went mask. You got the first dose, the second dose, the third dose, the fourth dose.
No,
and we need people.
I did admittedly get peer pressured into the first dose.
Well, there you go. We need obedient people, obedient conformists like you, so I can be the renegade.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not that often that I get called being an obedient conformist, but I guess in some ways I am. And when it comes to big snowstorms and you shouldn't be driving, that makes a lot of sense to me.
You shouldn't be driving, but it's not for them to decree you can't drive. Now, what if I have to drive?
What are they going to do? Throw you in jail? I mean,
that's implied, isn't it? Like it's a criminal act. It's defiant, and people have emergencies. What if you have to get to the hospital? What if you have to get to work? What if you?
Well, yeah, but that would be essential travel, wouldn't it?
No, essential. They're essential workers. They muddied the message on purpose, right? That somehow it is. I've never heard it before. I never heard, you please don't drive. It makes no sense to drive. I've heard that. But I've never heard it decree that you can't drive. No, that vehicles will be banned. I think that's a violation of my constitutional rights. It doesn't say in the Constitution that Kathy Hochul can order me, quite frankly, to do much of anything when it comes to my life. And she thinks she can. So does Mamdani. Having said that, I really can't gauge how they're doing with the snow. I think the last time they were sticking it to Mamdani, the sanitation guys, a little bit. I don't, because the snow hung around longer than it probably should have. And I think that was possibly a work action, a soft work action. Who knows? I do know this. Mamdani knows nothing about clearing snow, and neither does the OEM person and all the people on his staff. All they know how to do is wear those jackets, right? Those jackets. Oh, we're did you hear when I read all of the things the city has done? The alert, the bulletin to all New Yorkers? All the stuff that they had done so far?
They're listing off their accomplishments, you mean?
Well, if you call these accomplishments, they conducted 12 interagency conference calls. Okay. They activated the situation room at the Office of Emergency Management.
Naturally.
They deployed extra resources to extra state troopers. Oh, yeah, Kathy Hochul, there are 100 state troopers on standby in New York City. 8 million people, and we got 100 Smokey the Bear guys out there, just in case. I mean, they never stop patting themselves on the back. They never stop pushing either insanely simple, we already know that, yeah. And I'll tell you this, the MTA, I'm going to go back to the MTA website. I went to the MTA website because I, no kidding, wanted to know, hey, how am I going to get to work tomorrow? Right. Because the trains often do run, but then again, they're talking like they're not going to run. And I went there 10 o'clock last night. The website had not been updated in 8 hours. It had not been updated in 8 hours since 2 something in the afternoon. So I don't know what.
The part that kills you is the lack of communication. You know what I mean? Even if you go on there and you say, look, we're still figuring this out, whiteout conditions have led us to be delayed in getting our plow trucks running, or the plow trains can't get out during these conditions, whatever. Just tell us what's going on. I mean, I think that's what most people want to hear. And then the problem is you're alluding to it. It's such a political liability. If they really screw it up, then they're going to be in the headlines for a negative reason. And they just want to make it so that they're looking like they're totally on top of it.
I mean, here it is. It's a big, big day. And you just go there and it says service status. And it goes through it like you are a controller at the subway terminal, like at the train depot. You know, it has the symbols, and like, I'm supposed to go through this. What about a black and white bold statement that everybody can see? They don't have that. They have instead in fine print, and this son of a bitch has not been updated since 7:59 this morning. All right. Now the snow is coming down so fast, so fierce. I would imagine this is updating rather, by the minute, right? Even if you can't it updated February 23rd at 7:59 a.m. It's 12:29. This is almost 5 hours old. There are changes to service on subways, buses, the LIRR, Metro North, and Accessoride because of the ongoing winter storm. Avoid unnecessary travel. If you must travel, check service status before you go. Thanks. And I go down there, and it's unclear what the hell this stuff means. And I can't tell. This is only a handful of subway lines. What about everything else? So they're functioning? Are they? I don't know. No, I shouldn't be that alarmed. All right. I shouldn't be. And most people are staying home. Everything's been canceled. Then again, you know what? I'm hungry right now. What am I going to do for food?
Well, I imagine that the kitchen is pretty well stocked with various snacks that you sometimes have been known to enjoy.
Hey, I want to tell you, I'm looking at the hockey guys, the hockey team.
Yeah,
they won.
About that? Were you excited about that?
I didn't even know that they were in the finals. I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? I had not heard boo about the American hockey team. Then the next thing it
wasn't great either. Sunday morning. I mean, the diehards know about it, but
the next thing I know, they won the gold medal, and my mind goes to 1980. Yep. And the whole damn world was watching. Now, granted, the circumstances were a little bit different. We were skating up against the Russians, and we were mortal enemies with them, kind of like now, but more so then. It was a home game, right? Lake Placid Olympics, 1980. And we only had 3 channels, and one of them was the Olympics. So,
right, yeah.
So everybody was watching.
That's exactly right. Sports in general is kind of much more compartmentalized now. I mean, everybody watches the Super Bowl, but for every other sport, it's kind of like they've got their diehards, and but casual fans will tune it in. But I don't think it's anywhere near as big as, like you said, hockey being one of the big 3 or big 4 in 1980.
Hey, how about this event? May we play the Alyssa Liu? Right? How about this? To my favorite song. Hey, be quiet for a second, James. How about that little guy? She doesn't care about medals or anything like that. I mean, how do you know that exactly? Right in the middle of her gold medal performance, she doesn't care about medals. Who the hell is he to say that?
Maybe he interviewed her ahead of time.
Anyway, it was awesome. My mom loved it. She loves that song. I gotta find out who wrote that song. His name is Billy somebody. He lives on Long Island. Great song writer. He is legendary. All right, James. Just kidding when I told you to shut up.
Should I talk now?
What?
No, nothing. We're just saying no problem.
What's your final word?
It's a crap ton of snow. That's what I said.
It's a crap ton of snow. James Flippin. Very wise. Thank you, James. Very seriously, we so appreciate you. And to be continued, and we'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
A lot of folks deal with the snow all the time. It's bad, but let's just go through it really quick. Historic storm brings NYC to a standstill as bomb cyclone dumps more than 15 inches of snow. More expected. Post New York City was brought to a standstill as a monster bomb cyclone dumped double-digit snow totals throughout the area. Much more expected throughout the day. The snow is still falling. heavily through mid-morning and beyond, with more than 15 inches reported in Central Park, more than 22 inches recorded in parts of Long Island. The flakes should begin to taper off around lunchtime now, I'm hearing, and a big melt was expected later in the week. Carl Erickson, the Accu guy. Let's see here. There may be just some light snow showers and flurries for the rest of the afternoon. Well, it's 12:15, and these things look pretty big to me. Let's see. The winds are going to remain quite strong, so they'll continue to be a factor from the storm heading through the rest of the day. A majority of the metropolitan area saw between 12 and 18 inches, but a high of 22.5 was reported in Islip and Suffolk County, which caught the brunt of the heaviest snow, with another inch or two still expected. Monday's totals already far exceeded last month's major snowstorm, with over 11 inches. When over 11 inches were recorded in Central Park. And if Monday's total surpasses 20.9 inches in the park, it would be among the top 5 snowfalls from a single storm ever recorded in New York. The record was 27.5 inches in 2016. I don't think I even remember that one at all. And I was here. You remember that? I have no recollection of that. Freehold in Monmouth County, New Jersey, located in the heart of the winter blast, topped 2 feet with 24.2 inches reported. That's from the National Weather Service. I see all kinds of crazy people, snow skiing and that kind of thing. I was on the subway today. The subway, no delay. It was a typical subway ride. And it was somewhat, it was slightly lower than it would normally be. Slightly. Still a lot of people there. And some homeless guy, of course, spread out. And I did notice the strong whiff of marijuana in the car. But that's okay now. It's illegal somehow. I don't remember voting for that. Did we have a big referendum? No. The snow fell at an incredible 2 to 3 inches per hour early Monday from New York through Massachusetts. National Weather Service called travel conditions nearly impossible. Just take it very, very slow, all right? I see cars out there. You got to take it very, very slow. And, of course, if you don't have to, don't go. A combination of heavy snowfall and strong winds will continue to produce blizzard conditions along the northeastern seaboard. Sharply reduced visibility will make travel extremely treacherous across these areas. I see a man getting pulled in a canoe behind a pickup truck holding the American flag. Some guy has a walker. He's 67 years old and he has a walker. Isn't that a little junior to have a walker? The blizzard, which brought wind gusts of 60 miles per hour, knocked out power to more than 250,000 people on the East Coast, including over 100,000 in New Jersey. Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency for all 5 boroughs, Long Island, and several other counties. I'd like to know more about what that means. State of emergency is in effect for Jersey. The blizzard warning remains in effect in the region until 6 o'clock. Streets of the Big Apple were eerily empty, with the exception of snowplows. In fact, I haven't seen that many snowplows. Looks to me like the streets right now are getting basically plowed by the cars that are on them. They have that effect. Just the cars themselves will push the snow around, it seems to me. All New Jersey transit services have been suspended, and Long Island Railroad and New York City subways are also experiencing cancellations, delays, and service changes. More than 5,500 flights were canceled across the country on Monday due to the weather, with another 9,000 delayed. A couple of trees knocked down in Park Slope. Airports in New York City and Boston saw the most cancellations and delays. The snow also forced New York City schools to close in what Zoran Mamdani called the first old-school snow day since 2019, and giving students a disappointing virtual learning day, the last storm. A good old-fashioned school snow day. I mean, that's like, hey, no kidding. There's so much snow that it really is not a good idea. Usually it's just a kind of a suck up to the teachers union. Yeah, take the day off. The city, still reeling from its last major snow debacle, recruited people to shovel snow, with some beginning work Sunday night to get an early start on the first wave of snowfall. Although, from what I'm hearing, nobody has showed up. And it's kind of preposterous, all the ID, you heard about that. It's also the whole notion of it. It's a little bit anti-American, to be honest. There's something wrong with it. You take care of your immediate dwelling and somebody else's dwelling. I don't think you go out. It's tough to get to the heart of Brooklyn or wherever the hell they're meeting to have these snow shoveling parties. Forecast for the rest of the week is actually kind of an ideal melting situation where temperatures for today will be above freezing and we get kind of close to or slightly below freezing at night, so there will be gradual melting of snow throughout the week. Some of the pictures are pretty amazing. You know, snow can be very beautiful for about 2 minutes. Huh. Hey, let's stop everything. Uh-oh. Who remembers Fergie? Not Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas, but the original Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, the redhead who was married to Prince Andrew. Sarah Ferguson has checked into a rehab clinic over her ex, Prince Andrew's connections to Jeffrey Epstein. Sarah Ferguson has reportedly checked herself into a pricey wellness clinic in Switzerland amid more scrutiny about Jeffrey Epstein. The former Duchess of York, 66, has left the UK and checked herself into a recovery clinic in Zurich. Costs $17,500 a night. I guess something like this might drive somebody to partake. I hope they don't partake, but yeah, it could help you partake. Look, I have to put this aside for a moment and talk about what happened in Mar-a-Lago over the weekend. One of the strangest things. And there was another apparent assassination attempt on President Trump. A guy with a shotgun and gas canisters actually made it onto the Mar-a-Lago property. He was shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy and Secret Service. But for what I can tell here, this was a major screw-up again. I have the press conference all set up, and I want to play it. But I got to tell you a couple of wild and weird things that happened during it. So this happens at like 1:30 in the morning. Some maniac tries to sneak his way onto Mar-a-Lago with a gun and gas. President Trump wasn't there, but that's unusual. He usually is there almost every weekend. He didn't because he had the governor's dinner. All the governors came over for dinner at the White House on Saturday night. This happened very early Sunday morning. So that's not his name, Rafael Barrios. It's Rafael Barros. It's just a little thing, but the little things can add up to a lot. And guess what Rafael Barrios, whatever, is doing in this press conference? He's chewing gum. He's on national television. The president's property has just been penetrated by a would-be assassin. He's got his sleeves rolled up. He looks dumpy. And he's standing there chewing gum. Now, maybe this is an old school thing, right? But chewing gum really does advertise that you're checked out, right? There are only certain people who should be chewing gum in public. Baseball players, executives with various gum companies, possibly the Juicy Fruit people. But I don't think anybody else should be really chewing gum in public. Maybe if you're commuting on the train. He's chewing gum. It tells me a lot about the culture of the Secret Service. So, kind of vague, right? An individual made his way into the inner perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. I don't know what that means. What does that mean specifically? You got to spell it out for me. Made his way into the inner perimeter. Now, they're vague on purpose. I happen to know that the guy snuck in the gate somehow, got in through the gate. And guess what we have at the gate? Guards. That's what we're supposed to have. We're also supposed to have, barriers. Not only the gate, was the gate open? Was it closed? Was there a... It makes it sound like he, made his way to the inner perimeter. Did he jump the fence? Because if you jump the fence, even the White House has fence jumpers from time to time. It's a thing that is a very difficult thing to deal with, the fence. But as soon as somebody jumps, I would have understood that. But he doesn't say that. Made his way to the inner perimeter. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Before we go national, right here in our region, there is all kinds of snow, of course. I kind of like it when it snows. It makes it kind of cozy, right? If you're indoors where you're supposed to be, it can be a very cozy feeling, right? And, less pressure, although some people have a lot of pressure, right? Getting that snow out of the way, the doormen and everybody else. And, if you don't have lights and stuff like that, this could be a nightmare, and it could be also dangerous. So obviously we don't want anybody harmed, right? And hopefully they got all the homeless out of there. I know we were all touchy-feely about that. Ooh, maybe they prefer to be homeless, right? Rudy Giuliani kind of set the record straight about that. You don't have the right to be crazy on the street. You don't have the right to lay down on the street. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. We shall return. Does this damn bomb cyclone thing have a name for it? Did we have a name for it? Yeah, I don't think we ever name blizzards or snow events. Only hurricanes for some reason. All right, be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh boy, I'm looking at Rick Reiner. Who's that? Nick Reiner, rather. He's the guy who allegedly killed his parents, Rob Reiner and Mrs. Reiner. Wow, there he is. I've seen sketches of this guy, and I've seen security footage, but I haven't seen anything like this. They have turned over the defense discovery. Looks like, from what I hear, he's going to plead not guilty. I also hear that he had a very high-profile lawyer involved, and then that did not materialize in any big way. Nick Reiner's doesn't have any assets. I don't know if he was in the will or not, but apparently, if it giving his stat, he won't get any of that money. At least initially, he needs. Hey, speaking of lawyers, I'm really still worried about my friend Bill Stevenson down there in Delaware right now. He's in custody, accused of first-degree murder. I do not believe it. I am biased, but I don't believe it, and I know that there are some very weird things. Well, who is Bill Stevenson, by the way? He was married to Jill Biden in the early 1970s. Yeah, the former First Lady. But Joe gets elected to the Senate and then moves in on Bill's wife. And they have an affair, and the marriage goes up in smoke, and they get divorced. But Bill is a great guy and was he always did the right thing. And in the divorce, he made out a lot better than people suspected that he would, because he was honorable, and Jill and Joe were not honorable. And I can go into the details someday. I have before. But long story short, they were exposed for being greedy and being unethical. And Bill was able to keep his business and all these other things in his house that often you lose in a divorce. Well, Joe was embarrassed by that and made a note to himself, I'm going to get that guy. And he sure did. A couple of years later, my friend Bill Stevenson in 1982 was arrested on April 8th of 1982 for not paying payroll taxes for his business for the first quarter of 1982. April 8th, 1982, he's indicted federally for not paying the taxes, $8,152 by March 31st. So they use 8 days late with the payment. The check was literally in the mail, and he gets hauled into federal court. That didn't happen by accident, all right? That is the kind of thing that Joe, a corrupt guy like Joe, could pull off in a state like Delaware. And I believe the same thing is happening now. I don't know exactly how, but I know there's something to it. All right. My friend Bill has been speaking out about Joe Biden for the past 5 years, rather boldly, 6 years, boldly, and saying things that the Bidens did not want said. The hometown newspaper in Delaware never wrote a word about any of the things that Bill was saying. They totally ignored that story. But now that he's being arrested, they always write that story. Now that he's being charged with murder, they're writing that story. Isn't that interesting? Because he is of note. And they always mention this is the former husband of Jill Biden. What's going on? So at this point, his bail has been upped from $500,000 to $2 million. That's weird. Number two, the indictment. He's been in custody now for 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago today, he was arrested. The indictment has not yet been released. That's weird. They say it's a Rule 9, and we don't have to. He has not been before a judge. He's been before a commissioner a commissioner of Delaware. I don't know what the hell that is, but he's been before a commissioner. His lawyer, and I know he had at least one lawyer who was a good friend of his for many years, is nowhere to be found. So he's got to rely on the public defenders. And those guys are, I called the public defender that was in the newspaper. You know what they did? When I called, they laughed at me. They laughed at me and they said, I knew you'd be calling. I was one of the weirdest phone calls of my life. Then they said, well, I'm no longer the attorney of record. This person is. So they gave me the contact information. I did everything I could to get in touch with that attorney, and they have not called me back. You know, I'm not nobody, right? It just, and I didn't get called back, and this guy's still in jail. Oh, and then I called Department of Corrections in Delaware and said, well, I wanted to say, how do I visit? And I listened to their big voicemail, which, by the way, speaks about, it's like that FedEx guy. Remember that FedEx guy? Positively, absolutely, overnight, like one of those speed talkers, telling everybody, like, you got to go to some website and download forms and print them. And I'm like, how does anybody who say, I don't know, lacks a high school education, which happens to be a lot of people who are criminals and are friends of criminals and loved ones of criminals. Sometimes, I don't want to profile here, but sometimes that cohort of people, they don't have the first-rate education. You know, they might be very super savvy. I think I'm pretty super savvy. They were speaking too quickly for me. And all the websites I had to go to and all the forms I had to download. Finally, at the end, they say, if you need more assistance, please hold. So I hold, and it rings, and it rings, and it rings, and then it goes, it disconnects me. That's it. Something's up. Something is up and wrong. Excuse me. Yes, JW, who's this? JW, are you there? Line 4?
Yes, I'm here.
What's up?
I'm here. Hey, so I think all these storms, God testing Mandami, and he's failing.
Could be. Is that it?
And well, I'm sorry?
Never mind. Look, God's in control of everything, right? And he is.
I think he's testing him, and he's failing, and people will notice it.
Well, look, I don't know. I hear some people say it's crummy. Some people, I think, yeah, I don't know. There's only so much you can do when you're the mayor of Storm, right? You got to rely on other people. He didn't run on, I've got the best snow removal plan, you know? But I think God does test people, and he tries to, and he brings things out, and he's got it. We're all in his hands in the best way. Thank you. Al, hello.
Yeah, Craig, listen, did you get that $10 check in the mail? I sent it to the radio station. We made that bet about the arterial monochromia. I sent you a check.
I did not get it yet. But then again, I don't open my mail as diligently or as faithfully as I should.
All right. Hey, Craig, ask me how much snow I got out here.
Well, tell me. Tell me.
8 inches. Just about it. Oh, I'm sorry. I got it mixed up with my manhood. A little joke.
Yeah, a little joke. That's cute, Al. Not. Al, we love you anyway. Thank you very much. Rich, hello.
Hey, it's Richie from Randolph, formerly of Rutherford. Randolph is the second highest elevation in New Jersey, by the way. I want to bring up Jimmy Webb wrote MacArthur Park.
Oh, you're right. Jimmy Webb. I know. I should have known that off the top of my head. I looked it up, and it was Jimmy Webb. Great guy. Wichita Lineman and a bunch of other songs. Great performer, great songwriter. Jimmy Webb. I think he lives in Bayville, Long Island. One of a super duper guy. Thank you for that. Yeah, no disrespect to Mr. Webb. That was a brain synapse mishap. Okay. And wasn't that great? That little lady out there, Alyssa Liu. Not to be mistaken for Alyssa Gu. Alyssa Gu is the traitor, American-born skier who now skis for China. But Alyssa Liu is an American-born, and she's still skating for America, and she was great. Let me hear that Donna Summer again. This is her little skating routine as we take a quick break.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.